answer to that. I think it's time to begin, and we are here to spend the next couple of hours in having a discussion on this topic: reimagining your work-life balance by becoming indistractable. Now, I will start by kind of reimagining the title itself. Now, the title suggests that work and life are distinct from each other. So I believe that's not so. Work is an integral part of life. It is also an important part of life. So let us reimagine the title itself by saying what we are going to be achieving today is how do we get a balance in our life, okay, across all our priorities, across everything that we want to do in our life. How do we achieve that balance by becoming indistractable? Okay, so that's what is the objective for the session today. And as we get into it, while I put these as rules, they're not really rules, but just guidelines, so that we get the best out of this particular session. And all of you, my dear friends, have come here. This is a choice that you've made. Okay, in life, every moment of our life, we make choices, and you have made a choice to come here and be part of this session. So now that you made your choice, you to invest these precious 2 hours, okay, you have two options. One is be present fully and completely in this session by switching off your or putting your mobile phones on silent, and coming out of all the other windows that you may have having open on your laptops and desktops, and be fully present here. Or you can continue to listen into what we are discussing here and continue to do the other work. The choice is yours. Okay. So, 5 ground rules that I would just like to highlight to make the session of value to both of us. There was some pre-program activity. The mail.
ठीक है boss, thanks.
If you could all keep yourself on mute, that'll be wonderful. Please, if you can all keep yourself on mute. Thank you. So there was, in the mail that you would have received as an invitation to this program, there were some activities that were suggested. So I do hope most of you have spent some time on those activities, because we'll be continuing with them during the course of this program. Technology, we are already seeing the pros and cons of technology. I personally don't like this medium to communicate. I would rather be present where all of you are and be able to communicate face to face. But for whatever reasons, we have to use technology. So let's bear with each other. Sometimes I may go, my audio may suddenly break down. I may not be able to hear you and so on. So let's bear with each other. Okay, we will make the best use of whatever is available. Please put yourself on mute. If Neha or somebody, you can just keep track of that. Thank you so much. And then the participation in a program like this, I would not know how many of you are listening into what is being discussed. Again,
Can you
a
please
request,
put people on
please.
mute? I think somebody's still got somebody's. Thank you.
Request for the host. I think that's Neha, to keep everybody on mute, or even otherwise, please keep yourself on mute. I think that's the best way to ensure that we don't have any external noise. So great. So so the participation is important, but because there are so many people in the call, an audio response may become very difficult to manage. So respond through the chat box. Okay, keep putting your comments, please putting your questions in the chat box, and before the end of the program, if there are questions, I would be very happy to respond to them. But even otherwise, I'll keep interacting with you. I'll keep asking you to participate. Please do so using the chat box. Number 4 is I would be asking you to do a few things. Okay, keep a pen and notepad handy, because I would be asking you to reflect on certain things, put something down. So keep a notepad and pen handy, so that you would be able to follow, you would be able to be with me as I take you through this process of being indistractable. And then finally, every program that you attend, every training program, every webinar you attend, just remains as information. Whatever you gather from from these programs just remain as information until and unless you actually implement them. That is when it becomes learning. Okay. Otherwise, it is just information which is available with you. When you apply it in real life, is then when there is real learning. So I would really motivate, I would really urge all of you to take those nuggets of learning, whatever you can pick up from here. And let me also share with you, nothing that I'm going to share here is rocket science. You would have heard this before, you would have maybe read this before, but I'm just bringing all of that together to your conscious awareness. So use this opportunity to note down those nuggets of learning that you can take back to real life. Okay, so do I have a commitment from all of you that yes, we are going to be here for this session? And as I said, use the chat box, please. So I would also now know how many of you are listening in through your responses in the chat box. Fantastic. I see a lot of you responding. Please continue to do so. Please use the chat box. Okay, I would like more people to be responding. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Great evening again, everybody. All right, so let's continue. And we are starting with a poll. Okay, and for this poll, I would want all of you to pick up your mobile phones.
Mohit, can you please put yourself on mute?
Thank you, Mohit. So please pick up your mobile phones and go to your browser on your mobile phone and type this URL www.menti.com, menti.com. And when you go to that page, you will be asked for a code. Enter the code that I have put on the screen on my window here, 11649690. Okay, so I'm just coming out of this screen and getting into another screen, which is where I would want to see your responses. So what you have to do is, friends, put in the code 11649690, and there will be a question that you will see. According to you, what is the biggest reason for a poor work-life balance? Whatever you feel, answer in one or two words. Answer in one or two words, please. What do you think is the biggest reason for a poor work-life balance? And as you are entering, I'm seeing what people are entering here, and I suppose you can also see it in the screen. The more people are entering a particular word or a couple of words, you see that word becoming bigger and bigger. So I see what you are responding. What are the biggest reasons for a work-life balance? I will hold on for 10 more seconds, waiting for everybody to respond. Awesome. Good. So what you see, friends, on the screen are the biggest reasons that you feel we are not having a work-life balance, and what seems to be the biggest problem that all of you are saying. The biggest reason seems to be time management. It seems to be distraction. It seems to be stress. It seems to be poor planning. Are you able to see what I'm also seeing? This is what all of you are saying. So now I come out of this screen and go back to what we were doing. And this is where we were. I'm putting that back. So what most of you said was time management and stress and distraction. Many of you have said. Do you want to know what your colleagues, when we had this program last week, do you want to know what your colleagues said? This is what your colleagues said last week. And what is coming up on top again is time management, poor planning, distractions. So let's see, what do we do with this? How do we make How do we maybe do better time management if that's going to be the answer to a better work-life balance? So there was a poll in 2020 that was done by this company called Mind Valley. Okay, Mind Valley is a leading learning management platform. It's a global learning management platform, and they did a poll asking the same question to a worldwide audience. Okay, and the reason that came up on top was a sense of overwhelm, which means people feel there are so many things to do. There are plenty of things to do, but we don't have ample time, and we feel overwhelmed most of the time, and that's what causes the stress, the frustration, the feeling of helplessness, and so on. And the second reason was a lack of focus, and many of you have said distraction. Okay, so probably it's the lack of focus, not able to focus on one thing at a time. And with so many things around us, we are not able to focus on the one thing that we have to keep doing. This is what the world is saying. So in today's program, we will try and bring some semblance of order in our life. And the objective of this program is to get some balance in our life. Okay, so let's proceed now. And I go back to the pre-work that was shared with you. What I had requested all of you to do is to spend some time and identify what are the top 3 priorities in your life. The priorities are different for everybody. It'll be different for the phase of life that you are in. It'll be different based on what is your expectation from your own life, and so on. So this is an opportunity I gave you. Just reflect on your own life, take your notepad and pen, and just write down the top 3 priorities at this stage of your life. It could be health, it could be career, it could be relationships, it could be wealth. Okay, just to ensure that all of you are with me, just in the type box, just type in the chat box, yes, you are with me. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, friends. Thank you so much. So I hope many of you have written down the priorities, the top 3 priorities at this stage of your life. The next thing, in these 3 priorities, the top 3 priorities, what are your goals for each of these top 3 priorities? Now, what do you mean by a goal? A goal is something that you want to achieve within that priority. So, for example, if health is one of your priorities, one of your goals may be I want to reduce my weight by 10 kg within the next 3 months. A goal needs to have a target date. A goal without a target date is just a statement. This is true for any goal that you set in your life. If there is no target date, it is just a statement of intent probably, but it's not a goal. So for the top 3 priorities in your life, identify at least 3 goals, if not more. So if, for example, your priority is your children, maybe ensuring that your son or daughter gets married by December 2023, that might be a goal. If career is an important priority for you, maybe achieving a particular level in your organization, that may be a goal for you. So whatever is the goal that you've always aspired for within these 3 priorities, please write that down. Okay, so I hope all of you have written down some goals which are relevant to you. Now, for the next question that you see on the screen, work is an important aspect of our life. It may or may not be in your top three priorities, but it is something which is important, which is relevant, and all of you are performing different roles in this organization. So this is also important. So looking at your own roles, looking at your own jobs that you're doing, identify some short-term goals, work-related goals that that you hope to complete, that you hope to achieve maybe this week, next week, or probably next month. Identify such short-term work-related goals. And what could be work-related goals? It could be maybe submitting an RFP response by the 10th of January. That may be a short-term goal. Or if you are a developer, completing a piece of code by December 28th, that could be a short-term work-related goal. So look at your own roles, whatever work you're doing, and identify some short-term goals that you wish to complete this week, next week, or probably by the end of January. Okay, so many of you have written down the goals which mean something to you. When you look at the goals, are you able to see something there? Are you able to, do you feel energized by looking at the goals? Then they really mean something to you. These are your dreams, these are your aspirations. The question to you, and this is a reflection, please. If you can achieve all these goals, wouldn't your life be in balance? Today, the challenge is most of our time, most of the day, the most of the week goes in the work related goals. Okay, maybe short term, maybe medium term. Most of our time is spent in that. And they may not even be goals. We are just doing the operational stuff. We are just doing whatever is coming our way every day. We wake up and mail starts coming in, calls start coming in. We are just rushing from one meeting to the other, one call to the other. And even our work related goals are sidelined. So my question to all of you is just think, if we can achieve most of these goals, looking at what you have written down, your health goals or your career goals or your family goals, if we achieve all that, wouldn't you be so much more at peace with yourself? And as I'm asking these questions, if you feel this is relevant, you can also keep typing in the chat box. Okay, so I know, okay, you are with me. Okay, let's go ahead and see whether this makes sense. Now, to achieve these goals, we have set goals. Now, these are dreams, these are aspirations, something that we need to achieve in the various priorities of our life. But to achieve these goals, we need to take some actions. We need to perform some tasks, right? So if, for example, to your health is a priority and one of your goal is to reduce your weight by 10 kgs by March 2022, one of your tasks would be to probably join a gym or maybe start jogging or start walking or whatever. That could be a task. Maybe starting a diet plan could be a task. If your one of your work related goal was to submit an RFP by 15th of January, one task would be to get some information from your stakeholders. The other task would be to get some clarifications from the client. All these tasks need to be completed so that you achieve your goal of submitting the RFP. So for all the goals you have written, my dear friends, list on whatever you think is necessary to be done. You may know some things, you may not know some things. List down the tasks needed to achieve these goals. I'm taking a pause after every question so that I give you time to reflect. Okay. Now, apart from these tasks, that you have written down, which are necessary, you believe, to achieve your goals, there are other tasks that we need to do every day of our life. These are tasks like sleeping for 8 hours, the time spent on eating your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. Okay, those are also tasks. Those are also actions that need to be completed. If you believe in health and you are already following a fitness regime, maybe 1 hour of workout is a life task for you, something that you would want to do every day. Identify some of your life tasks that you believe you're doing now, or you generally do every day of your life, because this is also going to take time. It's going to consume some time from your 24 hours that you have. Life task could also include watching television, for example. That's important for you, so be it. Spending time on social media. We do spend at least an hour, a couple of hours every day. That is a life task today, whether you like it or not. List that down, mention that in your list as well. Okay, so as you have identified your top 3 priorities, the goals within these priorities, and identified some tasks needed to achieve the goals, as well as some other tasks that you need to do every day, let's understand some things. If I ask a question to all of you, how many of you would want a fit body with a flat tummy and maybe six-pack abs? If I ask this question to a majority of people in this program or even outside, I think 9 out of 10 would say, yes, I would love to have that. Everybody wants a fit body, a flat tummy, and so on. Maybe six-pack abs, probably. All our dreams or aspirations are just like that, something we really want. And when we visualize ourselves as that fit person with that flat tummy, we feel so energized, we feel all enthused, we are all enthusiastic about it, saying, yes, I will join a gym tomorrow. We are reaching the new year, and this is a time when all of us will suddenly say, hey, I want to become healthy, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4 and start having our new year resolutions. And whatever we set as a resolution are our subconscious dreams and goals that we want to achieve. And all of this really, really energizes us. So everything that we want in our life, okay, I'm using the word want here, everything that we want in our life, these are our desires, these are our dreams, and we all wish to do this. We are very happy doing that, the goals that we want to achieve. But to achieve these goals, to achieve these wants in our life, we need to do a lot of things. And most of these things, my dear friends, we are not happy doing it. To get that fit body and that six-pack abs, we need to spend at least an hour in the gym every day. We need to follow a strict diet regime. We will not be able to eat. We need to avoid a lot of stuff that we would otherwise love to eat. And all of this doesn't sound too interesting. So what happens? Very soon we say, "Arey kisko banana hai yaar fit body chodo." Right? So we let go of that dream. And this is true for all our goals. We let go of those goals because of those uninteresting things that are needed to be done to achieve that goal. Say I want to get promoted to the next level. All of you at whatever level you are, Um, I want to get promoted to the next level. Now, whenever when I look at myself at that level, I feel energized, saying, yes, this is what I want to achieve. This is what I always wanted, to be at that level. And that inspires me, that energizes me. But to achieve that goal, what do I have to do? Apart from doing my current job well and be recognized for it, I need to put in extra hours to probably learn some new skills which I don't have and which are needed in that particular role. I need to take up some work which is outside my comfort zone. I need to probably put myself in situations which are going to test me and where I may be made to look bad because I'm still learning. But I don't want to get into those situations. So that dream of getting into that role that I've aspired for just remains a dream. There are thousands of individuals with similar skills like you, even in your own company, and who aspire to do the same, aspire to get to the next level, but very few get there. Not because they don't have the skills, not because they don't have a strong desire. The primary reason is because they are not doing the uninteresting things needed to get there. And most of the things that we need to do to achieve those goals happen to be uninteresting. So in your task list that you are preparing, also include the tasks that you have to do to achieve the goals, but you don't like doing it. They are uninteresting. मजा नहीं आता है वो करने में, लेकिन करना पड़ रहा है. So put that in your task list as well. We conveniently try and ignore them, my dear friends. Today, be honest with yourself and put those tasks as well, because your goals are important. Okay, so let's move ahead. I see some of you have put something in the chat box. So I will leave that for the last segment, when we can look at what you commented in the chat box, etc. So, but thank you. Keep it coming. You have probably made a list of tasks that you need to do, a list of actions that you need to do to achieve your goals. It includes your life tasks as well. If I may ask you, how many tasks do you have in your list? Put in your chat box. Put in the chat box, please. How many tasks do you have in your list? Okay, I see 5, 7. Wonderful. Keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming. I see different numbers, 4, 5. Good. Nice to see that all of you are engaged. Now, in the limited time that is available in this program, I'm sure you may not have had time to think. Maybe you're still there are a lot of things stuff going on before this call and after this, and that would also be coming in your mind. So, what I encourage you to do is, I'm giving you in this 2 hours, we will be talking about some ways of achieving that life balance. Spend some time over the weekend, spend a couple of hours for yourself, and make a bigger list, which is really important for you. So as you look at your task list, okay, the 6 or 7 or 10 tasks that are there in your list right now, how are you feeling looking at it? And when you make a bigger list, maybe this question is even more relevant, because there's a very good chance that you're going to feel like this, a sense of overwhelm. Oh my God, I need to do so many things. Where do I have the time? That's a general feeling. And most of you said the reason I'm not able to achieve work-life balance is because of time management. Everybody has 24 hours. So let's see how to utilize that. So look at your task list. And now we are beginning to do something with it now, because I want to ensure all of you achieve your goals and dreams. Okay, so look at your task list and identify all the tasks in that list which you believe are urgent. And what do you mean by urgent? Something which has to be done now, something which has to be done today or tomorrow. If that is how it is, then it is an urgent task. Now ask this question to yourself. When you look at a task, ask this question: if I don't do this task, will it be an issue for me? Okay, how do you identify whether a task is urgent? This is the question that you need to ask. If I don't do this task now or today or probably tomorrow, will it be an issue for me? And if the answer to that question is a yes, then it is an urgent task. So if one of your tasks is to get a response from a stakeholder today to ensure that you are ready to submit your RFP by 15th of Jan, and if you don't get that response today, will it be an issue? And the answer to that is yes. If I don't get a response today, then the RFP submission will be delayed. Then that is an urgent task. So from your list, identify all the tasks which are urgent. Coming to the next categorization, look at your task list and identify all the tasks which are important. What do you mean by important? These are the tasks which, if you do well, are going to lead you to your goals. Now, how do you identify these tasks? Ask this question: if I do this task within reasonable time. Now, that reasonable time could be 1 day to a week to a month in some cases, but it is reasonable time for that particular task. If I do this task within reasonable time, is it going to benefit me? If the answer to this question is a yes, then it is an important task. So there may be one task which will be both urgent and important. So be it. So again, using the same example, if the RFP submission, now that is an important goal for you by 15th of January, and one of your tasks is to get the response from the stakeholder today. It was an urgent task. But if you get that response from the stakeholder, is it going to benefit you? Of course it is, because that is going to help me prepare my RFP. So it is also an important task. Suppose one of your work related goals is to acquire a particular skill, and for that you have to attend a training. There is a training program which is scheduled tomorrow. Okay, and you look at that saying, okay, I need to attend this training tomorrow. But you have a lot of other things to do tomorrow as well. Now, is this training urgent? When you look at the training calendar, you see the same training also there next week. So you have an option to attend the training next week. So this task of attending the training to acquire the new skill may not be urgent because you have an option to be done tomorrow. But is it important? Yes, it is, because it is going to help you achieve your goal. So I hope you understood the categorization as urgent and important. So look at your task list, categorize them as urgent or important and important. Some of them may be urgent and important. And that's what we are going to be doing now, looking at a further categorization. Look at your list, all the tasks, okay? All the tasks which are both urgent and important. Categorize them as A. All the tasks which are both urgent and important, categorize them as A. These are the most urgent of your tasks. These are the tasks which, if you don't do today or tomorrow, there will be an issue. And if you do these tasks, they are also going to benefit you. So these are the tasks which you have to do. You don't have a choice. You have to do this. You have to spend time in getting these tasks done today or tomorrow. They have to be done by you. Now look at the task list again. Identify all the tasks which are not urgent, but they are important. Okay? These need not be done today or tomorrow. You need to schedule this in your calendar at an appropriate time during the next couple of weeks or probably month. The challenge, the problem sometimes is we know we have to do this, but we never put that in our calendar. So today I am encouraging you to put a date saying when you would do this task and then put it in your calendar after you come out of this program. And these also have to be done by you because these are important. These are important for you and your achievement of your goals. But they are not urgent. So they need not be, you need not clutter your calendars today and tomorrow by doing this task. They can be done at a convenient time. Okay. Now coming to the third categorization, the urgent but not important. Categorize them as C. These are the ones which if you do is not going to benefit you, but it has to be done today or tomorrow. So these are your typical operational related tasks. A client has raised a ticket. Yes, you have to do it today. Now, is it going to make you a better better coder or a better tester or a better support person? Maybe not. But it is important. It is a bug which has come in and you have to fix it. It's urgent. You're maybe doing a task which was assigned to somebody else for whatever reason. It has to be done today because it has to be given to your client or given to a stakeholder. It is urgent, but is it going to benefit you? Maybe not. So from your task list, identify the ones which are not urgent, which are urgent but not important. You know what? These are the tasks which you can delegate because they are not important for you. Friends, most of you, as you are rising up the ladder, one of the competencies that you will be asked to indulge in is the competency of delegation. If you have to rise up the corporate ladder, you have to start delegating your work. And the question always arises is, what do I delegate? How do I delegate? This is the answer to it. Categorize your tasks, all the things that you generally have to do. The ones which are urgent but not important, they are the ideal candidates for delegation. Because even if you don't do it, it's okay. It's not going to harm you. But it has to be done. So help somebody else do it or assign it to somebody else who can do it for you. Okay. The fourth categorization, not urgent and not important. Believe me, if you really sit and do this activity diligently with your entire mind, you will suddenly see a lot of things in your list which fall into this category. They are not urgent. That is, if you don't do this, there is no issue. Heavens are not going to fall down. And if you do it, you're not going to get any benefit out of it. So why do it in the first place? Okay, so these are the candidates, these are the tasks which you need to put in the dustbin, not only physically, but also from your mind. Remove them from your mind space. Our mind is cluttered with a lot of these things. I need to do this and that and this. But when you sit and categorize those tasks, you realize, oh, they are not really urgent. And then you realize, oh, they are not really important for me. It's not going to help me in any way. But it is occupying your mind space. Declutter your mind space. So let me ask you, did any of you identify tasks which fall in the D category today? Did any of you identify tasks which are falling in the D category? I've not seen an answer yet. Probably you can answer a no as well if in case you didn't find. So I know I'm still audible and I still know that.
No.
No? Okay. Okay, somebody is Murari found something good. And again, friends, we have just 2 hours. Now, you may be you may not have time for the kind of reflection that you really need to do. But if you feel this is important, if you feel this is worth your time, take this time out over a weekend spend that 1 or 2 hours. This is for yourself. Because why are we here? Because all of you felt that work-life balance is causing havoc in your life. Not having a work-life balance is causing havoc. It's causing stress, it's causing frustration, health issues, and you're here to find a solution. And I'm suggesting a solution. It may work, it may not. What's the harm in trying? And to do that, you have to do that hour or 2 hours of reflection where you list down whatever are your goals in life, list down your priorities and the tasks you need to do it, and see whether how many of them are falling in the D category. Okay, so now that you have categorized, let's move ahead. As you're moving towards these goals, okay, in life, you have these goals, it's there in your mind. Today, you put some of them on your paper, and you are continually doing those actions needed to achieve those goals. And what is our objective today? To achieve a balance in life. And we have started by identifying priorities, we set the goals and listed all the tasks. And now that you have these goals and the task, we may believe that, okay, the journey is now straightforward. All I have to do is just keep performing these actions, and at some stage, I'm going to achieve my goals. But my dear friends, while you've categorized it, the journey to our goal is never straightforward. You know why? Because even reaching the goals that you have set, although you've identified some tasks, there might be multiple other ways to reach the goal. And then you get confused saying, should I do this? Should I do that? The goal is important, but there are multiple ways to reach it, and that leads to confusion. That leads to that sense of overwhelm. And we may even drop that goal altogether. That could happen. The other thing that could happen, and most of you said it happens today, is there are distractions. As we are moving towards our goals, as we are performing the actions needed to achieve those goals, we are facing distractions all the time and everywhere. But we have to continue. We have to keep performing the actions. Okay. And when I say action, 24 hours of the day we are in action. Even when we are sleeping for 8 hours, that's an action that you're doing. Okay. That's an action that you're doing. It's not lethargy. That's a necessity of life, that sleep of 8 hours. So that's also an action. But any action, which is taking you away from your goals is called distraction. So in our 24 hours that we have every day, whatever actions that we are doing, which are taking us away from the goal, that is a distraction. So sleeping for 8 hours in the night is not a distraction. That is a necessity of life. But if you are prone to sleeping in the afternoon, now that we are all working from home, and you would actually should be doing some work, but you tend to sleep for whatever that half an hour, that becomes a distraction, because that is coming in the way of you achieving something. Checking our phones while we are in a meeting, that is a distraction, because it is taking our mind from listening to what is happening in that meeting. Even while we are doing some important task, if our mind is on the social media messages that are likely to coming, the alarms that go off on of the notifications that go off, that is a distraction. Let me give you an example that you would all be familiar with. You're working on your task, an important task, and you get a call. Okay, you pick up your phone, and the caller says, whoever the caller is known to you, maybe your peer, your senior, and the caller says, hey, can you get me this information? I want this information urgently. And what do? You leave the task that you are doing and now get into that other task that the caller asked you to get. You will spend a couple of hours trying to gather that information and send it. And by the time you come back, either you have lost interest in what you are doing, you have to again spend some time in trying to get back to what you were doing. That call, my dear friends, was a distraction. Okay. Now the distraction did not just take your mind away from what you were doing at that point in time, but research has proven that to come back to what you were doing, which will at least take you 20 more minutes. Our mind to adjust back to what you were doing, to focus back on what you were doing, takes a minimum of 20 minutes before you can get back to the same level of focus that you had before you were distracted. And this is what is happening in our life, believe it or not. So let me ask all of you, if this is distraction, if doing all the actions that is moving you away from your goals is distraction, what would be the word which is the opposite of distraction? You can type in the chat box, what is the opposite of distraction? Because that is what we all want to achieve. We don't want to be distracted. Focus, concentration, traction, focus. Fantastic. Attention, attraction, concentration. Thank you for being engaged, my dear friends. One of you answered it right. It is traction. Okay? All the actions that we do that move us towards what we really want is traction. So 24 hours of the day we are in action. Some of it is taking us towards our goals, so that means we are in traction. A lot of it is taking us away from our goal, and that is distraction. So based on whatever we have discussed so far, if we can eliminate distraction and always be in traction, that means all the actions that we do fall into the category of traction and not in the category of distraction, wouldn't we achieve most of our goals across all our priorities? Yeah. Thank you for people who are engaged in the chat box. Just look at this. We want to achieve our goals, and that is what is going to give us our balance in life. And we are not able to achieve it because we keep saying we are distracted. And I am telling you that 24 hours of the day we are in action. Some of it isn't in line with our goals. It is towards our goals, and we call that traction. But the majority of the time we are in doing action which is taking us away from our goal, and that is distraction. So if we can eliminate distraction and always be in traction, wouldn't we achieve most of our goals? And isn't that what we are here for? To achieve that balance in our life. Okay, so I hope it's making sense. I'm just leading you to what we are trying to achieve here, that balance in life. So now we know that to achieve that balance, we need to eliminate distraction from our life and always be in traction. The question is how? Okay, the million dollar question, as we say. And that is where, friends, I would like to invite you to be the superhero of your life. Each one of you can be the superhero of your life and become what is called as indistractable. Now, this is a beautiful word, a term coined by this gentleman called Nir Eyal. The name is there on the screen, an Israeli born American author. You can read about it on the net as well. A beautiful word. And if you can be that superhero, if there is one super kind of a superhuman strength that we all want to achieve our goals in life, I think we should choose becoming indistractable. Because otherwise we have the skills, we have the talent, we have the passion to achieve our goals, but what comes in our way, the enemy for all of us, is distraction. And if we can conquer that enemy and become indistractable, believe me, we will achieve that balance in our life. So now the question is, how do we become this superhuman? How do we become indistractable? So let's start by understanding, why do we get distracted in the first place? If we know the answer is to avoid being distracted, let's understand, why do we get distracted? The answer, my dear friends, is the triggers. The triggers in the environment, the triggers within us. I am doing an important task. I'm working on an important task and my phone rings. That ring of the phone is an external trigger. And when that trigger happens, you have some choices. Either pick up the phone, that is, leave the task that you're doing and pick up the phone, and then you don't know where that call will lead you to, or you have the choice not to pick up the phone and continue with the work that you are doing, because you know that this is an important thing. And you know there is a very important feature in all our smartphones. Not even smartphones, the lowest model of phones has an extremely important feature, which is missed calls. Okay, and it's okay to have many missed calls during the day. We think, oh my God, having a missed call means that there's something wrong with me. We don't have to pick up every call that we get, especially if you're involved in something important. Okay, so start using this feature in your phone. Now, if you're reading a book and the notification on your phone, a lot of us have kept the sound notifications on. The sound notification goes off. That's another external trigger. And again, you have a choice to keep the book aside and see, oh, what happened? Who sent me a message? You're doing, maybe you're coding. Okay, this is a technology company. I'm sure most of you would be doing that. You're coding and you suddenly feel hungry. Okay, that hunger is an internal trigger, my dear friends. That hunger, the feeling of hunger is an internal trigger, but it's coming within you. Okay. Now, okay, suppose that feeling of hunger has come because of something. You get the aroma of something that is being cooked in the kitchen. Okay, the chole bhature that is being cooked in the kitchen, and you get the aroma, and that brings in the hunger. That is an external trigger. But otherwise, if you're just doing a work and you feel a sense of hunger, it's an internal trigger. So what do? You have a choice to stop what you are doing and try and look for something to eat to satisfy that hunger, or continue with that work for some more time by saying, okay, I'm hungry, it's okay, I will look at it a little later, and continue with that piece of work. So that is an internal trigger. And after every trigger that you get, you have a choice. Okay. Now, a very good example that I heard from somebody, and I thought it's necessary to share, and I share it everywhere, is I have to call a client, and many of you may be in this scenario. I have to call a client. I know I have to call a client and give a status update. Just as I'm about to call, a thought comes into my mind saying, hey, based on the last couple of weeks, whatever has happened in the project, my client is not going to be happy because some issues have happened in the past 2 weeks. Okay. Now this thought of, oh, my client may be unhappy, he may give me a beating today in the call. This thought is a trigger. It's an internal trigger. That thought has come in your mind. Now, what are the choices you have? You, based on the thought, you decide, oh no, I think I shouldn't be calling today. I don't want to listen to my client's anger today. Maybe I will ask my boss to speak to him, or maybe I will send an email. Okay. Ideally, you should have called the customer, which is what was necessary. But that thought, which was an internal trigger, became a distraction for you, and you did not make that call, which probably made that situation even worse. The other choice you had is, when that thought came, you said, oh, my client is going to be unhappy, so let me spend some more time and gather all the data, which will help me explain why we had the issues and how we are on top of things. So the same trigger, that thought, has become traction, because that is going to help you in that call, because one of your goals is to keep your customer happy, right? So we get distracted because of internal or external triggers. Now, external triggers are outside of us. The phone ringing, or the notifications on our phone, the social media, the noise all around us are external triggers. Whatever is happening inside us, the feeling of hunger, the feeling of boredom, are all internal triggers. And you know what? External triggers are the ones on which we may not be able to control a lot. Okay, some we may be able to control, some we may not be able to control. So if you are again doing some important work, and there is some repair work going on at your neighbor's place, and there is a lot of banging going on, you don't have much of a control in trying to, you can close your windows and all that, but that noise will still be there. External trigger, external distraction, you can't do anything about it. But internal triggers, my dear friends, internal triggers, you can control them if you want to. And these 4 words are important: if you want to. So let me ask you this question, okay? You understand now what is an external trigger and what is an internal trigger. So look at yourself, look at your own life, and tell me what percentage of triggers, according to you, are external and what percentage is internal. Looking at your own life, looking at your own distractions that happen, the triggers that cause those distractions, what percentage is external, what percentage is internal? Is it a 50-50, 60-40, 70-30? Please use the chat box. There is no right or wrong answer, friends. I'm just sharing of whatever you think. 40 internal or 75 internal, 25 external is somebody saying. Good, very nice. Thank you for the engagement again. Okay, so again, this is a choice you've made, so let's engage. 70-30 is what many of you are saying. You know the answer? 90%. 90% of our triggers are internal. Only 10 are external, which means we can actually control most of the triggers that we are experiencing today. But the 4 words that I mentioned, if I want to, that becomes significant. If we want to, we can manage these triggers because 90% of them are internal. And this is what research is telling us. The reason, my dear friends, the reason why we do things, the reason whenever we get a trigger, it leads us to do something. It makes us take a choice. Okay, there may be plenty of choices available, but our subconscious mind makes us choose one of them even without us thinking. So when we step out of the house and we feel cold, subconsciously we just go back and get our jacket. You know why? Because our body doesn't like to feel uncomfortable. When we are hungry, that's an uncomfortable feeling for our body. So subconsciously we start looking for whatever is necessary to satisfy or get back into that level of comfort, which is try and eat whatever is available. Our body and mind doesn't like to be in an uncomfortable position. This is the examples that I gave are physiological. They are about the body. Our mind doesn't like a state of boredom. When we are getting bored, that is an uncomfortable state for the mind. And to get out of that state, what happens? We pick up something to munch, or we just pick up the phone and just start browsing through social media, or we just start Netflix and keep binge watching. That is to remove that state of boredom that our mind is feeling. This is what researchers said, that we make choices subconsciously, not because that choice is going to make us happy. We make that choice because it is going to make us come out of that uncomfortable situation. That is the reason why when we feel bored, we pick up social media or Netflix, because that seems to bring us out of that feeling of boredom. When we are in a state of confusion, when we are not sure what to do, we Google. Google seems to provide us the answer and we become more comfortable. We feel more confident. When we are stressed, we look for that cigarette, or again, maybe binge eat, because that is bringing us out of that state of discomfort or being uncomfortable. All our choices, my dear friends, are made based on our body or mind wanting to get out of a state of discomfort. Okay. So when you get a trigger, an internal trigger or an external trigger, you seem to make a natural choice without even thinking. And that choice, most of the time, is because you want to get out of an uncomfortable situation. And that is what is leading you to become distracted. So the question to all of you is, or probably the solution as well, is to become that superhero, to become indistractable. We all need to be okay with being uncomfortable. So when we are bored and our mind says, okay, just pick up your phone and go through social media, it makes you feel comfortable. We have to tell ourselves, sorry, I'm okay being uncomfortable. I'm okay feeling bored, but I'm not going there. When you are working on something and you feel overwhelmed and stressed, you say, I'm okay with this because this is important. Let me continue and not come out of this. When you have not checked when we have not checked social media, and this may be true for most of us, not necessary for all of us, we feel uncomfortable if we have not picked up our phone for the last 1 hour. The first thing we do after probably an important meeting, or we get up in the morning, is pick up the phone and go through WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram. And if we don't have the phone next to us, we feel uncomfortable. That is how we have all become nowadays. We should be telling ourselves it's okay being uncomfortable because I want to become that superhero, become indestructible. So, ladies and gentlemen, the secret to achieve that balance in life, which is why all of us are here for, is to be okay with being uncomfortable. So let's summarize what we have done so far. We started by saying, let's look at let's look at three of our important priorities, three priorities of our life. For each of the priorities, you identified some goals that you want to achieve. These are your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. You also identified some short-term work-related goals because they are important for the current job that you are in. Now, for each goal, you listed down some action items, some tasks that need to be completed to achieve those goals. Until this point, it was all easy. Okay, all I need to do is get these tasks done and all my goals will get completed. But then we realized that as we are moving towards those, as we are performing these actions, there is a lot of distraction. And then we realized that, okay, I need to be more in traction and avoid getting distracted. So to achieve the balance in life, we realized that if we can avoid distractions as much as possible and become indistractable, we will be able to complete all our tasks, which will help us achieve our goals, which will help us achieve that balance in life. So then we said, okay, if that is a good solution, why do we keep getting distracted? And we realized distraction happens because of triggers, and there are internal triggers and there are external triggers. 90% of our triggers are internal to us, which we can control. So said, why are we not controlling it? And then we realized that most of the time, whenever there is a trigger, we make an unconscious choice. And that choice is primarily to make us come out of that feeling of discomfort. And that is when we realized that to achieve that balance in life, we need to be okay being uncomfortable. We are okay to be in that state of boredom. We are okay to feel a little hunger. We are okay to feel confused. We are okay to be stressed. If what I am doing is important for me, I will continue to do it and I will not get distracted. So is this making sense so far, friends? Is this making sense? Thank you. Thank you to all the people who are engaged. Thank you so much. So now the question is, how can we become indistractable? What are the ways in which we can become distractible? So let's go into that now. So there are four steps. There are four steps, my dear friends, to become that superhero, to become that indistractable person. Making time for traction. You know, if you are in traction, you will avoid distraction. So you have to make time for traction. That's one step. Second is hacking back your external triggers. What do you mean by hacking? It's a technology company. Hacking means unauthorized access to something. What you have to do is you have to hack back. You have to push back the external triggers. The third, prevent distraction with pacts. PACTS. Pacts means an agreement, and we will see what that is. And the fourth is mastering your internal triggers. How do we make a conscious choice when there is an internal trigger? Okay, so let's look at each one of them in a little more detail in the remaining time. The first step is making time for traction. And here I take you back to uh, the mail that you would have received. In that, there is a time calendar template that was shared. I hope some of you have taken it, or some of you have checked that out, but that will be relevant for this particular discussion. So making time for traction is all about ensuring that you value your time. Okay, making time for traction is all about valuing your time. How many of you are valuing your time? We say time is money, but we value our money. How many of you are valuing your time? All of us have the same 24 hours in a day, my dear friends. A Jeff Bezos or a Bill Gates, they also had the same 24 hours, but they have millions of billions with them as assets. But we don't have that. Probably they have utilized those 24 hours that much better. They valued their time probably much more than what we are doing. Start valuing your own time. Don't let others tell you what you have to do in your time. Don't let others drive your day. You drive your own day by ensuring that the 24 hours, most of the 24 hours, is spent in traction. So now go back to that categorized list. All of you had made those categorization A, B, C, D. I want you to put that in what is called as a time calendar. A time calendar is a 24-hour calendar which has been broken down into, say, 1 hour slots. Okay, you can have a 2 hour slot. This is what I prefer, a 1 hour slot. So right from 12 a.m. in the night to 11:59 p.m., you are dividing your day into 1 hour slots. And you need to decide what you're going to be doing in these 1 hour slots, which lead you to traction. Now, what would you put here? The question is, what would you put in this time calendar? From the categorized list, you have categorized your tasks as A, B, C, and D. 60% of this calendar should be filled with tasks which are both urgent and important. Okay? The category of A, which is both urgent and important. And do you know, even tasks like an 8-hour sleep fall in this category, because this is necessary every day. You can't live without it. Whatever, 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever works for you. 30 minutes of eating time, important for you. And it is urgent because it has to be done today. So in your 24 hours, block 60% of that for all your urgent and important tasks. If workout is important for you, then that is urgent and important. Spending time with family is important. Put that in your calendar. Don't keep it in your mind. Okay, today I need to spend half an hour with my son or daughter to help with the homework. Don't put it in the mind. Put it in your time calendar. 20% of your 24 hours should be spent in urgent and important and not important tasks. Okay, they are urgent, they have to be done today, they have to be done, they are small errands, there are some operational tasks needed to be done, but you're not going to spend the entire day doing this. This is a problem today. We spend our entire day doing the routine stuff that comes in, the routine tasks, the operational tasks, and then we realize, oh, the day is over. And what did I do today? Nothing much. But put in your, out of the 24 hours, 20% for urgent and important. These are the routine daily tasks that you have to do. And the remaining 20% is for the not urgent but important. So these are the tasks which are important for you, not urgent. So today you may block time, maybe 1 month in the future. You may block some time in the month of January saying, on January 15th, I will do this important thing because it is important. Something which is important for you daily, maybe watching movies is important for you. So be it. Block time in your time calendar for that. Going for parties is important. I'm not saying all those are not necessary in life. They are necessary, but put that in your time calendar. So your 24 hours, you're deciding how you are going to run your day. And if you don't do this, okay, and I will show you an example of a time calendar. If all of you can see what I'm showing, it is there in the template that I have shared with you. If you have seen this, there is time for something like emails, WhatsApp, social media. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the time for emails, WhatsApp, and social media. If I spend time on social media between this time, it is not distraction. It is traction, because that also has an entertainment value. There is time for sleep, if you see in my time calendar, because sleep is important for me. I'm not going to allow somebody else to ruin my sleep. So there you see reading and social media here. You see on a Sunday, for example, running a marathon. I like to run marathons. I have put that in my time calendar. Connect with family and friends. I use that time to call up my friends or visit a friend or visit family. I have put it in my time calendar. And the reason I'm putting it in a time calendar is somebody else should not block my time. What happens is, what is not in my calendar today, we all run our life through calendars, whether we like it or not. And what is not in our calendar, somebody else sends a meeting invite and we accept it. At 1:30 in the afternoon, somebody sends a meeting invite, we accept it. So we are running as per that person's time. And what happens? We go for the meeting, we finish the meeting, it's already 2:30, our lunch is delayed, and we get a little irritated, and the next meeting gets delayed. Sometimes we skip lunch. And what do we do at the end of the day? We feel, what am I doing this for? Where is my work-life balance? Because you're letting somebody else run your day. So put everything that you would do on a day in your time calendar. And now something even more important. How many of you have maintained a to-do list? How many of you maintain a to-do list? A lot of us do it. Maintain a to-do list saying, I need to do this, 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 this. That has always been a good practice so far. But what this theory on being indistractable says is a to-do list is just a list of tasks. It does not factor in the time. Time is our most limited resource that we have. Okay, so rather than start by saying, I need to do all this and not factor in the time, what we are telling you through a time calendar is we are doing reverse. We have the 24 hours. What are we going to be doing in those 24 hours? We put it in the calendar. Because if we have a to-do list and we don't factor in the time, what happens? And it has happened to me in the past. I make a list. I'm very happy looking at the list. But end of the day, when I look back at the list, there are only 1 or 2 items checked. But maybe 5 more things have got added to it. And then over a period of time, I realize, oh, this is not working, and I chuck it out. 1 month later, I come back saying, no, yeah, I need to be a little more systematic. Let me start by having a to-do list again. And that is how the cycle continues. Instead of that, have a time calendar. And in that time calendar, the way you're going to put a task, you're not going to put a task saying between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., I'm going to complete this coding or I'm going to complete this report. No, that is how we generally put a to-do list. In the time calendar, you're going to say, I am going to work on this report between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. I am going to do coding between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. I'm going to have my lunch between 1 and 1:30. I'm going to probably help a colleague between 2 and 2:30. The difference between what I said and what we normally do is I am not focused on the completion of the task. I am focused on ensuring that I give my complete attention to that task in that time without getting distracted. This is the new metric that all of you need to track. In the time calendar between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., I have said I am going to work on this document. At the end of the day, track, did I do what I said I will do between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. without getting distracted? And the reason why you will not get distracted if you're following the time calendar is because whatever you're getting distracted by today, it could be a call from somebody, it could be an email from somebody, it could be social media, it could be your children, it could be family, whatever. You have given a slot for that as well in your calendar, in your time calendar. Okay. So my advice, and it has worked for me, is stop having a to-do list, start having a time calendar. Also important for all of us in the kind of work that we're doing, let us stop complaining about those conference calls which happen at 9 p.m. in the night. Let us stop complaining about all those extra work that we are required to do every day. Believe me, that is how businesses are going to be run. It's going to get even worse going forward. Okay, so while we set up a time calendar, there is a possibility that a lot of that time will be taken away by somebody, some other conference call, some meeting, something that you had not planned for. Let's be okay with that. Maybe 5 or 6 hours out of the 24 will go away like that. But you still have the remaining 18 or 19 hours to do whatever is necessary, my dear friends, to achieve your goals. The problem is in the remaining 18, 19 hours, we keep cribbing about those 5 or 6 hours, and then we lose focus on whatever we want to be doing there. Let's accept the fact that in spite of having a time calendar, I may not be able to do whatever I said I will do. I'm okay with it. But I need to ensure that that is not more than 5 or 6 hours every day. Then I'm still okay. Then I'm still moving towards becoming indistractable. So making time for traction, my dear friends, is the first step to becoming indistractable. Start having a time calendar. Experience this, and I'm sure it'll start making a difference. It did for me, and that's why I am suggesting that as a good solution for you. The second step to becoming indistractable is hacking back external triggers. Hacking means somebody is gaining unauthorized access to you. All the media companies, All the media companies are hacking your attention. I'm sure you have seen a lot of documentaries on this, a lot of videos on this, that your attention is being hacked and they are getting paid for distracting you. They are getting paid by the advertisers to keep you distracted. You have to hack back. You have to push back and say, I want to do, I will go to you. I will go to social media and OTT platforms, but at my time, not when you want me to. I will go there when I want to. Okay, because none of these media companies tell you when to stop. Even OTT, if most of you are on OTT, you will realize that when you have watched a series, when you're watching a series and the series and that episode ends, the next play button automatically starts. You have no control over it. You believe you have no control, and the next episode starts and you continue to watch, and slowly it becomes a binge watch. Become indistractable and says, that's it, I have kept 8 to 9 p.m. for watching this episode, and it's done. I'm going to stop now and go to whatever I'm supposed to do from 9 p.m. onwards. That is what is going to make you indistractable. So some tips for all of you, some simple tips which I coach people, I coach individuals, I coach leaders, and these tips have worked for them. One is, in your calendar, in your time calendar, block time for everything that distracts you, especially the external triggers, the OTT, the social media. These happen to be external triggers for all of us. Put time for all of these in your calendar. Remove the notifications from your phone. It's very easy to do that. Go to your settings, remove the notifications. You don't want any sound notifications. You don't want to go to your phone because it wants you to. It should be the other way around. You go to the phone when you want to. Okay. And on those OTT platforms, when you're watching the series, control your own life by putting a stop there when the next episode automatically starts playing. When you start a task which is important for you, please ensure you're putting your phones on silent. We do this sometimes, but we don't do this all the time. Put it on silent. It's okay if there are some calls coming, it will get into your missed call. We don't use this feature enough. Use your missed call features. That is a very important feature to make you indistractable. Go and pick up your phone only after you've completed your task. In meetings, okay, again, this has worked really well for people. In meetings, put your phones face down. We normally put the phone in front of us. It may be in silent, but it is still facing you. And every time there is a notification, there's a mail, it lights up, and that distracts you. Put your phones face down. In meetings, when you're with family, when you're having dinner with family, and this is a good habit you can inculcate in your children, in your siblings, etc. Let everybody follow this simple rule of keeping the phone face down, or even better, keep it away. If you're in a meeting, keep the phone away. You don't want it near you. Okay. And if, for example, getting up in the morning and going for a workout, which all of us keep as a New Year resolution, and we are not able to get up, and what we do, we keep the phone next to us, the alarm rings, we just put it off and we put it on snooze or whatever and continue sleeping. So keep the phone away from you so that when the alarm rings, you have to get up and go and shut it down. And that action of getting up will in most cases say, okay, abhi to main uth gaya hu, so let me continue with whatever I plan to do. Okay, because the act of getting up from the bed is the difficult part. Okay, so hacking back external triggers, my dear friends, is the second step. And I leave you with this statement saying, it is not your phone or the OTT platform or the social media that is smart. You are. Okay, keep that in mind. Make the smart choice. The third step is mastering your internal triggers. And this is a wonderful tip called the 10-minute rule, which I have read about and I practice sometimes as well. Is when you get an internal trigger. What is an internal trigger? Something in your mind says, oh, I am bored, I have had enough of this document. Let me spend some time doing something else. And you don't want to do that. That whatever you're doing is important. And that's an internal trigger. Now you want to make a choice, which is a conscious choice. So what do you do when you get a trigger like this? You're doing an important work and you feel the urge to pick up the phone and check your WhatsApp. Do not tell yourself a no. Okay? When you get an urge to say, अरे मैं तो एक घंटे से काम कर रहा हूँ, चलो let me check WhatsApp because I know I'm going to get some messages there. But you want to continue with your work because that is important. And when you get this urge, this internal trigger, tell yourself a no. Don't tell yourself a no, sorry. Okay? No, I will not pick up the phone. No. Don't tell yourself a no. What you need to tell yourself is not yet. Okay, I've got an internal trigger. There is an urge to pick up the phone. I'm going to tell myself, I will pick up the phone, but after 10 minutes. Okay, that's a 10-minute rule. So you're telling yourself, okay, I will pick up the phone, I will check my WhatsApp, but after 10 minutes. Now you have a choice. Okay, and before that, set on your phone or what, set a timer for 10 minutes. This is in the initial days. When you start practicing it, then you don't need this timer. But in the initial days, set a timer for 10 minutes. And now you have two choices. Number one, you have set the timer. Now get back to doing what you were doing. And when the timer goes off after 10 minutes, stop the work and go and check your WhatsApp because that was the urge. The second is what is called as surf the urge. What do you mean by surf the urge? Have you seen a surfer? Maybe you have seen in person or you have seen it on television. A surfer is somebody who surfs the waves and they wait for an appropriate time when to get into that wave because every wave has got a high and there is a low. There is a peak and there is a trough. And the surfer waits for the right time to get into the wave because the surfer knows that while there is a high, there will always be a low as well. Similarly, the internal trigger that all of us have also have a high and a low. So the moment we feel the urge, when you're working to pick up the phone, that is the high, that is the peak of that urge. Now you have set the alarm for 10 minutes. Okay. Now in that 10 minutes, what you have to do? In that 10 minutes, you have to have an internal conversation with yourself and say that I am doing this important work. Okay. It's okay to get this urge, but I will do it. I will go to that urge as soon as I finish the work that I'm doing because this work is important for me. Let me do this work for the next 30 odd minutes and then I will satisfy the urge. So you're constantly reminding yourself that this work is important, but I will go to that urge after 30 minutes. As soon as I finish this work, I will go to that. Keep telling yourself this, close your eyes and keep telling yourself this. And then when the alarm rings after 10 minutes, you have set the alarm for 10 minutes and the alarm rings and you open your eyes, you will realize 9 times out of 10 that that urge is no longer there. That desire has gone away, that trigger has gone away, just like the wave. Okay, again, a beautiful experience if you are able to do this, and with practice, you can develop a resistance to most of the internal triggers by having this internal conversation with yourself. Okay, so try this step of a 10-minute rule to master your internal trigger. And in case, okay, even after trying it, you do fall prey, that means you do get distracted once in a while, don't put yourself down. It's okay. Tell yourself it's okay. I will practice more. I will do better next time. And then keep increasing the 10 minutes to 15 minutes and then to 20 minutes and so on. Why? Because you want to become indistractable. Okay, so this is the third step. And the fourth and the final step to be used in case the first three don't work is have a pact with yourself. Okay, there are three types of pacts. One is a price pact. That means pay a price if you get distracted. So it's like a penalty that you're paying whenever you get distracted. So and you can take some drastic measures of maybe tearing a 100 rupee note if you get distracted. Okay, may sound very drastic, but you have come to this step because all the others have failed. So you need to do some drastic steps. The other option is to have an effort pact. Effort pact is to get distracted, you have to take effort, and you don't want to do that. So, as we said, if you keep the mobile phone in a different room while you're working and the phone rings, to pick up the phone will require you to get up, go to the other room, which is kind of a discomfort for you because you are in a comfortable position, you're sitting and doing your work, and you don't want to go there. That becomes an effort pact, saying that I don't want to take that effort to get distracted. The third, my dear friends, something which is the most important of the three, is an identity pact. Create an identity about yourself. Let the world know you for something. Okay, we all know about values. So if we believe that I believe in honesty, if honesty is a value that I believe in, I want the world to know me as being honest. So everything I do should show the world that I am an honest person. And the world will start recognizing me as an honest person. Okay. Similarly, when it comes to being indistractable, start creating an identity about yourself. So if you have created your time calendar and you have decided that you are only going to entertain calls from maybe personal calls between this time to this time, let the world know that that is the case. Let the world know you as somebody who doesn't respond to emails in 5 minutes. Okay. We always feel the urge. The moment we get a mail, we feel the urge, oh, let me respond immediately. Now, to respond means you are getting distracted from some other work that you're doing. So create an identity of a person who responds to mails at a time when you have blocked your calendar, time in your calendar. You're going to respond at that time only. Create an identity about yourself as someone who doesn't check WhatsApp messages after 10 p.m. You have to create that identity about yourself. Someone who I need to check with before blocking time. Create an identity about yourself. People will realize that, oh, I can't just block. I can't send a meeting request. I need to first check with you whether you're available at this time, and then I will block your time. Create an identity about yourself. Someone who values his or her time. Create an identity about yourself as someone who values time more than money. Someone who goes to bed early, if that's something which is important for you. Become the person that you always wanted to be and let the world know that you are that person. They will start recognizing you as well. You may think this is difficult, friends. You may think this is difficult. How can I say no to somebody who is sending me a meeting request? Yes, in some cases you can't, but in a lot of cases, and when you start looking at your past couple of week or so, and you'll realize, oh, that meeting I could have rescheduled. But if you start by creating an identity of yourself as somebody who needs to be asked, saying, are you available? Believe me, the world will start recognizing you as one. Today, we have not created that identity. Okay, so this was the fourth step to becoming indistractable. Right? First was making time for traction, have the time calendar, put everything that you need to do in a time calendar, block your own day, live your life on your own terms. Second was about hacking back external triggers, where we talked about keeping the phone notifications silent, keeping your phone face down in meetings and so on, hacking back external triggers. The third was about the internal triggers. How do you master your internal triggers with a 10-minute rule? Having that conversation with yourself, saying this is important for me and I will come back to that distraction after a while. And then finally, prevent distraction with pacts. And if you are able to follow this, if you are able to follow these steps diligently, my dear friends, you would be that indistractable person. and you will slowly start seeing that you're achieving a balance in your life. So as we end this program, my dear friends, as we end this day, I just want all of you to just sit back and kind of hold your hand to your chest. It's like a commitment that you're giving to yourself, and just in your mind repeat whatever I'm telling you to say right now. Okay, this is a commitment to yourself. Okay, here we go. I am indistractable. I live my life on my own terms and do not let others dictate how I live it. I am achieving all my goals across all my priorities. I am achieving a balance in my life. I am indestructible. Okay, you want me to repeat? Somebody said, okay, I'm starting again. I am indestructible. I live my life on my own terms. I do not let others dictate how I live my life. I am achieving all my goals across all my priorities. I am achieving a balance in my life. I am indestructible. Thank you so much, friends. Yes, Ekta, I am indestructible, and you are. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. And over to you, Neha. If there are any questions, if there are some things put up in the chat box, this is the time to bring it up, and I will try and respond.
Rama?
Those are my coordinates. Happy to connect with you.
Yeah, am I audible, Rama?
Yes, you are, Neha. Thank you.
Great. I would request Bunty to take up the questions this time because somehow I cannot see my chat window. So I've
Sure.
requested
Sure,
Bunty
Neha.
to.
So no questions as of now. If anybody
Okay.
has any questions, please feel free to share it in the chat window.
So I see a question saying, how do you think meditation will help you? Okay. Now, what is meditation? My definition of meditation is having that internal conversation. You are in a state of uh, peace where you're not distracted by anything, and then you're having that internal conversation with yourself, is what I define as meditation. So, yes, it will help because it is making you more grounded. It is making you more believe in yourself. And when we talk about the 10-minute rule, when we said practice that 10-minute rule, have that internal conversation whenever you're getting that trigger, that internal trigger. According to me, that is meditation, where you're telling yourself, I am indistractable. This work is important for me, and I will go to that distraction a little later. Is a kind of meditation because you are with yourself. But yes, if you are want to practice meditation as a practice in the morning, etc., I think that's a wonderful thing to do. You become so much more in control of your own self. How many hours of sleep is good for people like us who use more screen time? The answer to that question is you have to decide, my dear friends. Minimum of 7 to 8 hours is needed. Minimum of 7 to 8 hours, and at least 1 hour before you sleep, you have to be off your screens. So one of the ways in which we talk about health, all of us are concerned about health because of whatever happened over the last 2 years. We talk about immunity. Health is not only about having a good diet and working out. Having a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day is also a component of good health. So put that in your time calendar as well, saying if 11 to 6 or whatever is your time which you believe is the right time for you to sleep, put that in your calendar. And the reason I'm asking you to put it, because this should be there in front of you saying, okay, it's 11 p.m. I'm watching this Netflix show. Let me stop it here. Ideally, you should be stopping 1 hour before, but even otherwise, you say, I have to go to bed at 11 p.m. You are in control. Be in control of your own life.
So now one question is, if you have too many important tasks and unable to complete them on day one, or too
Mhm.
many urgent tasks and it
Yeah,
takes 80% of your day, what to do then?
right. Wonderful, wonderful. So you have to prioritize between those tasks. And if you are able to categorize them as urgent and important, you are doing what is really necessary and seeing how many of them can be pushed into the next day. So that 60% that we are talking about, 60% of the urgent tasks that you have decided for today, maybe you're not able to complete all of that today. Fair enough. Maybe you eat into the remaining 20% today, a little into the 20%. But if you categorize it well, you will realize, okay, some of this I can actually put it into my time calendar for tomorrow. So as I said, don't go for, the aim is not to have a 24 hours where you're completely in traction. It's impossible in the world that we are living in. Even if you're able to get 15 or 16 hours of your day in traction, where you're living the life on your own terms, I think that's a great thing to achieve. I hope that answered the question. Okay, I see 1 hour of non-screen. Okay, 1 hours of non-screen hour before sleep is really hard these days, but it's best, I think. Yes, you know it, sir. You know it. That's really important. We keep telling our children don't be on mobile phones and all that, but we do. And screen time is not about mobile phones. It's our laptops. It's our work that we continue doing. Please share this presentation so we can take full benefit. Yes, I will. I will do that. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, we have 10 more minutes. Any other thoughts? Anything you want to share? Please do. So my
Raja is asking if
please.
task categorization could also change from, say, being not urgent to being urgent. How to handle such scenario?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's possible because this is not a one-time thing. That categorization is not a one-time thing. It's a constant thing. Maybe you'll have to uh, spend a few minutes every day to categorize and recategorize. Okay, something which was not urgent yesterday could become urgent today. Possible. So now you need to see that in that 60%, this task also needs to be included. So this time calendar for a week may keep getting changed. You have to keep adapting to it. You'll have to make it flexible. Some things will keep changing. But the important thing to note here, my dear friends, is you are making that change. You are deciding that in this time I'm going to do it. You are deciding, okay, today I have to do this task. It's more than the 60%, but I have to do it. You are making that choice. And the moment you make a choice, you will be okay with it. The problem today, why we are feeling that work life imbalance, is because the choices are not made by us. We are made to live a life. And then we realize we are not achieving our goals. I had to take care of my health. I have to spend time with family, and I'm not able to do that. So it's okay if some of your time is getting eaten into, but focus on the others. So, as I said, in your time calendar, be flexible with it. Today, if something is not urgent, it may become urgent tomorrow. So, fit it into that 60%.
Okay, so
Okay.
Asif is asking, I spend 11 to 12 hours in office. How to manage work-life balance? That's what the section was about.
Right. Is it necessary to spend 11 or 12 hours? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Okay. Is it necessary to do that? Is it because you are overworked? Is it because you're taking too much in your plate? Can you delegate some of your work? Can you not do some of the work? We looked at the four categories. The A and the B are necessary. You have to do it. But there is the C category, the urgent but not important. Try and see if you can delegate, Asif. Most of us don't do that because either we don't trust somebody or we don't have somebody to delegate it to. Find somebody. or talk to your manager and say, maybe I've been overburdened. You need to allocate some of these tasks to somebody else. And finally, the D category. All of us spend time in doing something which is not urgent and not important. 2 hours are gone in doing that. Remove that from your life. The D category, the not urgent and not important. Remove that. As if, believe me, you will suddenly start seeing you don't have to spend that much time. We generally
So
want to
Ankita is asking,
yeah.
as a mother, how do I manage my time? Everything is uncertain.
What is uncertain? What was the name again? Panti?
Ankita.
Ankita.
Hmm.
Okay, Ankita. So if you're a mother, okay, there is one of your top 3 priorities, maybe your child, okay, and you need to ensure that the tasks that you put to achieve certain goals which are related to your child, those are important for you. So in your time calendar, ensure that there are some tasks which you know which are planned, saying I need to spend that half an hour, 1 hour with a child. But as you know it with children, there could be a lot of unplanned things that might come in the way. Some things that you are not planned for. When that happens, that is the time when something else that you had planned at that particular time is going to be replaced by this thing because that is more urgent. So this is part of that 5 or 6 hours that I said will happen, which is not as per your plan. Be okay with it. But the first thing you have to do is ensure that you are putting time in your calendar for the time that you're going to spend with your child or do whatever is necessary for your child. The problem happens when we don't do that and everybody else eats into our time. A lot of other tasks come into that time, and then we realize, oh, and we start feeling guilty about it, saying, hey, I'm what kind of a mother am I? What kind of a father am I? I'm not able to spend time with my child. You have the choice.
Ram is asking that we generally work late night as per Eastern Standard Time. How to get up early in the morning? Can you please suggest?
Okay, so when I showed the calendar template, it was for a normal working hours. But if your working hours are different, okay, you need to have create a different calendar. But you still get that 7 or 8 hours. It could be at different times of the day, but you're still ensuring that you're sleeping for those 7 or 8 hours. So you create your own calendar based on the time zone that you are working in. Okay, the idea is the same. The idea is 60% of your time should be for urgent and important, 20% for not urgent but important, and 20% for urgent and not important. The idea is the same. What time of the day, what hour is works for you, you have to decide.
Our Athar is asking, in case of some big loss all of a sudden, what should
Hmm.
we do?
In case of some big loss, what do you mean by a big loss?
Athar, can you clarify?
Can you
What do you mean by
elaborate? What do you mean by a big loss?
that? I think Athar is not there, so we'll take
All
up
right.
another
Okay, okay,
question.
okay. So I see
Next question.
another comment here. I have to manage with peers in India and leaders in the US, and most of the evenings go running from meeting to meeting. How to handle that? This is about creating that identity about yourself. Okay, let me see who is in Ekta. So Ekta, it's all about we think that if we say no to a meeting or if we tell our counterparts in the US that okay, please don't set up a meeting at this time, or the person will feel offended, the person will not like it. It's actually not the case. You can suggest to the other person, if we want to have meetings are important, why don't we have it around this time, whatever is the time that according to you is workable, and it also workable to the other person. The thing is we don't say no all the time. We don't push back or we don't suggest alternatives. We just take it as it comes. Believe me, it's okay. Now, having been in the industry for 25 odd years, I know it's okay to sometimes push back, to suggest alternatives and say, yes, I want to get into this call, but why don't we arrange calls during this time of the day? And start making that identity about yourself. It will happen, it may happen over a period of time, but slowly people will realize that if I have to set up a meeting with Ekta, it it should ideally not happen between this time. The world will start recognizing you for that. So start making that identity about yourself, Ekta.
Thanks, Ram. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gaurav is asking how to stop overthinking from not completing any important task.
Don't be hard on yourself, friends. Don't be hard on yourself. The world is life is good. Enjoy it. Yes, you may not be able to complete, but again, I'm repeating the same things. Live your life on your own terms as much as possible. Okay. So it's okay if some part of your day goes in something which is unplanned, and don't overthink about that. It's okay. You will, and it's easy to say this, don't overthink, but if you are ensuring that most of your day you're living on your own terms, that overthinking will automatically stop. The reason why we get into that stress and overthinking and feeling bad about ourselves is we feel we are not in control. Don't we all feel, hey, I don't have any control over my life? We keep saying that to ourselves, to our friends. Sorry, nothing is in control, because we have let life to just run on its own. We have not taken stock and said, boss, that 24 hours is important for me. Okay, there's a very good quote saying, be generous with your money. Okay, be generous with your money. Give it to people for whatever causes, to your friends who needs it. But be very stingy with your time. Be very stingy with your time. So if somebody has set a meeting for 1 hour and the 1 hour is over, please get up and say, okay, you had set it for 1 hour. I have other things to do. Let the world recognize you for somebody who believes in your time, who values your time. Okay, and that's another common problem. Meetings keep running. 1 hour meeting goes to 2 hours. The 2 hour meeting goes to 3 hours. Everybody is talking, and at the end you realize nothing got finalized. There was no action that came out. So build a culture in your own area of work, your teams. 1 hour means 1 hour. Let's all plan the meeting in such a way that in 1 hour it gets over and we get up and walk away and do our other things. That is called valuing your time. And you can wait for everybody to do it, but you start doing it yourself. People will start recognizing you. Yeah.
I think we are on time.
Yep.
Thank you, Rama, for a wonderful session. I can see from the comments people have really enjoyed this session. A lot of learnings for them. Thank you once again for your time, Rama.
It was a pleasure, Bunty. It was a pleasure. Thank you for making this happen. And to everybody on this call, become indistractable. You already are, and you can be even better. All the best for everything that you do in life, and take care. Take care of your health. Thank you.